What if I told you that this little piece of plastic, this thing right here, could unlock a multi-billion-dollar industry? Well, it can. Today, we're going to dive into how one humble ear tag is completely changing the game for agriculture in Africa.
Okay, so let's start with a kind of weird question. Why is it so hard to get a loan for a cow? I mean, it seems straightforward, right? A farmer has this valuable asset, a whole herd of cattle. But when they walk into a bank, nope, they often get turned away. So what's going on? What's the missing piece here that stops that cow from being seen as, solid collateral?
And here's the thing. Here's the real twist. The problem, it isn't the cow. It's never been about the cow itself. The real issue, the thing that can grind an entire economy to a halt, is the data. It's a lack of trustworthy, verifiable information about that cow. Because think about it, without good data, you just can't have trust. And that brings us right to the heart of this whole thing, what we're calling Africa's livestock puzzle. It's really just a massive trust gap. And until you find a way to bridge that gap, well, the whole system just stalls out. This lack of good data, it creates this absolutely devastating domino effect. I mean, think about it. Insurance companies, they can't verify claims. Are they insuring a real animal or just a ghost on paper? And the banks, they just see it as way, way too risky. For the farmers themselves, trying to track productivity or prove where their animals came from, it's basically impossible. The whole shebang just breaks down.
Okay, so we've got this huge, complicated, system-wide problem, right? You'd think the solution would have to be equally complex, some high-tech, crazy invention. But that's not what happened here. The key to solving this entire puzzle, it was actually hiding in plain sight the whole time.
So, let me introduce you to the hero of our story, the Z-type ear tag. Yeah, I know, it looks simple. Kind of insignificant even. But this one specific piece of hardware is the key. It's the foundational tool that provides the one thing this entire system was missing: pure, simple data integrity.
So, what's the big deal? What is it about this little piece of plastic? How does it have the power to build like an unbreakable promise between a farmer, an insurer, and a bank? Let's break down what makes it so special.
Okay, it really comes down to three key things in its design. First, it's tamper-proof. Once that thing is on, you can't get it off without destroying it. Boom, fraud is basically eliminated. Second, the ID number is laser printed right on there, so it's not going to fade in the sun or wash off in the rain and mud. And third, this thing is built to be reliable at a huge scale. Doesn't matter if you have 10 cows or 10,000. These three features work together to create a single, verifiable source of truth for every single animal.
And this is where the really big mental shift happens. This tag, it allows the data about the farm and the animal to become a whole new kind of asset class. So the data itself, the proof that the animal exists, its history, all of that information becomes a form of capital. It's something valuable that can be used to make real financial decisions.
So once you have that trust, this incredible ripple effect starts to spread out. And that one little tag, it starts to fundamentally change the value and the potential of everything and everyone it touches. I mean, just look at this comparison. The difference is night and day. Before the tag, an animal is just an informal asset. It's high risk, you can't really insure it, and for a bank, it's totally unverifiable. But then, after it gets that Z-type tag, that exact same animal is transformed. All of a sudden, it's a verifiable, low risk, insurable, and, this is the big one, a bankable asset. Because you have to understand, for a farmer, this is so much more than a tag. It is solid proof of ownership. It's a clear, undeniable record that says, this animal belongs to me. And that simple fact, that's the first huge step toward real financial inclusion.
And check this out. Everybody in the system wins. The farmers, they can finally get those loans. The cooperatives, they can standardize all their records, track milk production, you name it. The insurers, they can offer products without worrying so much about fraud. And the banks, well, they can finally lend with confidence because they know the collateral is real and secure.
And this is the absolute core of the whole transformation. Remember that farmer we talked about at the very beginning? For them, this tag isn't just proof of ownership. It is literally the key to a loan. It's the key that unlocks their ability to grow their business and secure their own future.
Okay, let's zoom out one last time go to the really big picture. We're not just talking about individual animals or a few farms anymore. We're talking about tagging an entire economy. We're talking about laying the foundation for a completely modern, digital future for agriculture. Because when all the different players in the system are operating on this solid foundation of verified data, the whole livestock sector just transforms. It becomes bankable, which means banks can safely lend to it. It becomes investable, which means it starts attracting outside capital. And it becomes scalable, meaning it can actually grow in a structured, sustainable way. And this all leads to a quote from Imfuyo, the company that created this system. And honestly, it just sums everything up perfectly. They say, we tag livestock, but really, we tag value. Think about that. They're not just sticking a piece of plastic on an animal, they are attaching verifiable, tangible financial value. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's how a super simple, kind of elegant solution can tackle a massive, complex problem just by focusing on the one thing that matters most: trust. And that kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on, doesn't it? What other simple solutions to huge global problems are just hiding out there in plain sight?